Alright, so in this video, we're going to be showing you how to make a TradingView account so that you can get on the charts and start studying. Um, First, let's make this smaller so I can show you. We're going to go ahead, open up our Chrome, and we're going to search up TradingView. TradingView is a platform that I use to pretty much chart everything out when it comes to my technical analysis because I like how it looks, I like how smooth it is. They do have a free plan, but I do pay for a plan yearly for real-time data. Because if you don't pay for real-time data, then you're going to be behind in the market and you're not going to be able to see what's going on. So let's get to it. We're going to go to TradingView. We're going to hit up here, get started. This is a demo account, so um, we'll hit sign up for free. Sign in with Google because I'm using this Google account. Hit continue. We'll log in. Sure. Hit next. And on my actual TradingView account, I pay for which one is it? I pay for this one, just the essential because that's all you really need. It's 150 a year. Um, you're gonna make that back within a month of trading, so don't even worry about that. The reason why I don't pay for any of these is because I don't really use a lot of indicators. I use, I think, two or three max, an EMA, a time indicator, and that's actually it. I use two indicators. I used to use more, but as I learned and I learned how to properly analyze the charts, only thing the indicators did was take up space on the chart that I did not need taken up. With that being said, you don't need to pay for this every year. You can strictly trade off of Trade when you sign up for Apex and you trade with them. They give you real-time data for free with your account that you pay for on Trade. So you don't need to do this. That's just what I do personally because I like how TradingView charts look, and I like how their drawing tools work as well. It's simple, it's neat, it's clean, and I like neat and clean. That's just the kind of guy I am. Um, with that being said, you don't need to buy this every month. But let me show you what it looks like if you don't. So let's just go to the NASDAQ. Um, and this is how it's gonna look. You can see that it says data is delayed up here. That's because we don't pay for real-time data. Um, and that's why your
It's
trading
behind.
view settings to your liking. First and foremost, I hate light mode. So what we're gonna do is go ahead, click on our name, and turn on dark theme. Already a million times better. Furthermore, we'll go ahead, right click and go to settings on the chart. And this is what's going to allow us to really customize our chart to our personal preference and how we like it. Me personally, I don't like to have these little grids all over the thing. So what I do is I go to the canvas and I turn off grids and lines. So it's clean, it's neat, and it's ready for us to plot on. Furthermore, you can choose whatever colored background you want. You can do a white background, you do a gray background. What I use is I do a gradient because it looks cool. As you can see, I'll show you my settings really quick. Um, Settings, canvas, and I do a dark purple on the bottom and a black on top. I like the fade hue in it. Um, yeah, and then we can go grid lines, turn that off, and we can you change the color of the dotted lines to like blue or whatever. If you like blue, or purple if you like pink, do pink, coral, red, yellow, green, etc. I use green on mine because I like the contrast between the purple and the green. And then you can also choose if you want it to be a solid line or a dotted line. Exactly. So I use green. Um, for the purpose of this video, I'll do blue and give a pretty cool looking chart color scheme like this. So we'll go to our actual symbols. I don't really like the green and red. It's just my personal preference. I like to make my bearish candles white. So we'll go like this. Make those white. It's already looking better. And then, oh wait, I did that backwards. Those are bad. Those are bullish candles. So let's do bullish candles. This blue color to match our crosshair. And then we'll make our bearish candles white. And this is already looking so much better. Here we have indicators. I only like to use 2 indicators in EMA. Let me show you on mine. Actually, that'll make it a lot easier. I like to use an EMA 200 close. I used to use this one called Fractals. This helps mark out highs and lows. I go over this in the doji section of Confluences because that's pretty much what these are. They're dojis, and that's what indicates a change in price action. Like we see here, we have a bullish doji because we have this big wick right here, and that's kind of why we have this triangle or fractal. And then we have a doji here that makes it go back down. Doji, doji, doji. Doji and fractals like the same thing, and I'll go further more into that in the doji lesson that I have planned out. So ignore that. I don't really ever use that. I just have that there because I used to use it. Um, I have this one because it marks out the time zones and executions I like to use. Here we have 9:30 open, which is New York open, true open. And then we have it marked out 10 a.m. from 11 a.m. because that's really the time zone I like to trade in. Sometimes I'll take a trade. Like today, I took a trade at the 950 macro because it broke structure right here and turned off the retest and just targeted this lower level of liquidity that I have marked out from the 4-hour chart or the 1-hour chart. Sorry. Yeah. Anyways, so that goes over my chart. And here are my chart settings. Gradients, symbols, I use purple and white because that's what I've been liking lately. Um, I have highs and lows marked out just to see the ranges of how those are going. My thing is kind of messy right now because I've been trading on it. I haven't cleaned it up. I like to clean it up either when I'm done trading for the day or at the end of the week. But I was kind of busy after I finished trading, so I didn't get time to clean it up. But that pretty much goes over that. What other settings can I show you? We have our toolbar over here. This goes over like our segments we can use for drawing. I like to use trend lines to mark out liquidity, breaks and structures, or sometimes if I'm marking it from a really far away level liquidity, I'll use array just so it goes over all the way easier. That's why I have these favored up here. The rectangle I use to mark out fair value gaps, order blocks, and dojis. The line, depending on the color, green is a break of structure, white is a liquidity, purple I use for equal highs and equal lows, and blue I like to use for ranges. So like let's say we have our 9:30 a.m. to 9:50 a.m. range. Um, that gives us levels of liquidity to wait for a sweep and then react off that. Like we see here, we see price sweep this liquidity level right here, form an equal high, which is a confluence on a bearish movement. And that's why I was targeting shorts today, is because I saw this equal high form. I saw this 1 minute break of structure form and I was ready to get in the market. Some people don't like to trade off of 1 minute confluences. I do sometimes. Sometimes I'll do 3 minute or 5 minutes. Even then, I could have traded off a 3 minute break of structure when we saw this downwards close candle between below this low right here and entered off the retest of that. And that kind of would have looked something like this. Instead of my stop being up here, it would look something like this with my stop being at the swing high and targeting this low right here, this level of liquidity right here. That would result in a 4R trade, which is good. I typically like to target a 2.5R at minimum. If I'm not targeting that, I'm not trading. Simple as that. With that being said, what other settings can I show you? We have our indicators, we have our time frames up here. I like to mark out these time frames for my confluences, the 15-minute, 5-minute, 3-minute, 1 minute. For my daily bias, I like to use the weekly charts, the daily charts, the 4-hour charts, and for my HTF zones, I use my 1 hour and 4-hour chart. I go over how to find a bias in the daily bias lesson, so don't get tripped up about that. I go over it in depth, so don't worry. What else? What else? There's this replay button right here. This allows you to back test on TradingView. Depending on what plan you pay for, you only get a certain amount of data to replay with. There's also other options for back testing, like ReplayFX is also really good. But you can replay this for back testing. You don't even need to use replay mode for back testing. You can simply just use the data as it's already shown and trade off of that. That's kind of what I do, honestly, when I'm back testing. I go back, mark out confluences, look at what the ideal entry would have been, and go off of that. We have indicators. If you don't like the chart candles, there's different options right here. You can go to bars, you can go to lines. Depending on what model you're using, obviously is going to dictate what you use as far as your bars go. But I use candles so that I can mark out my equal highs, equal lows, fair value gaps, order blocks a lot easier. And that's pretty much it as far as this how to back test on TradingView. We have, like I told you in the last one, our replay button right here, and we can either replay to, so you can't replay on on the free plan on TradingView. So to do replay mode, you do have to pay for it. Another option for back testing is FX Replay. They also have a really good, this is a software strictly for back testing. They offer a free trial if you want to try it out for 5 days. I'm not affiliated with them at all. In the past, I've used, they're great, plain and simple. But if you don't want to pay for that, you can back test without replay mode at all by just going back and marking out your confluences. Let me put this on our time zone so I can see better. Where am I? New York. And then we have, why am I, why is it in military time? Why am I, how do I default? Trying to see how to make it into regular instead of the 24-hour format, but I am blanking out right now. What the heck? Maybe it's in the settings somewhere. More settings. Ah, here we go. Time format, 12 hours. That's what I like to use, that format, just because that's what I've learned my whole life. Why am I going to go off military time? So since we're trading New York session only, we'll only be back testing during New York session. So that is from 9:30 in the morning to, it goes as late as 3 o'clock, but I only trade morning session, so I'm only on the charts from 9:30 to 11. If I don't find a trade after 11:30 at the latest, I'm done trading for the day, regardless I trade or not. And that's a big part that I've learned with my discipline, is that you don't need to trade every day to be profitable. Trade on days at work and don't force any kind of trades. So we mark out our 9:30 open, which is right here, and then we mark out our end of trading day for us, which is 11. We have a 9:50 a.m. macro, which is a key time zone that causes influence in the market. So pretty much we'll be testing our model from here. We're gonna be going over my chart settings and what I use them for. So let's get to it. So we'll go to our settings, our symbol, and I have my bearish candles as purple, or sorry, my bullish candles as purple, and my bearish candles as white. On to the scales and lines. Always visible. I have it track over my mouse, and then I have these as this. My highs and lows I only have as value. I don't have these on ever. I don't know why those are enabled. And I have my ticker as the purple line. So we'll see it's down here, purple. That's where price is currently at. Market is closed right now for 12 more minutes. So that's why it's not moving at all. And then I have my highs and lows right here, marked out in white. Onto my canvas, I use a gradient rather than a solid black, just because I like the purple hue to it. It looks neat. I like it. No one really does that. For my line thing, I use green. Just because I like purple and green, really. I could change it to whatever I want to. So, you know, I just use green because it gives it more color. Yeah, so we're gonna stick to the green. I use a dotted line rather than a solid line because I like the dotted line better. I have this as my trading symbols, or my trading settings, so that when I enter a trade, I can see how much I'm actually risking rather than just seeing ticks. Like, for reference, if I go to put in a trade, I can see exactly how much money I'm risking for how much money I'm getting. And I like to try to target at least a 3R every trade. Sometimes I'll close it at a 2R if I don't like how it's moving. But 9 times out of 10, I will be targeting a 3R trade. That's why I have the money rather than the ticker symbol, because I like to see how much I'm risking. Because at this point, yeah, so I use the money. You could turn on executions if you want.